Hi, everyone. Welcome to Spirit Switchboard. I'm your host, Kerrilynn, and you are listening to us live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7, New Orleans. Thanks for joining us, everyone. There's a little bit of a switch up for today, and we are going to have the lovely, wonderful wonderful colleague and friend. I'm so appreciative and grateful to call her a friend, Lorilei Potvin. So she is a host here on our wonderful network, the UFO Paranormal Radio Network and the United Public Radio Network. She has two shows. She has the Angel Rock on Mondays, and she has the Thing at the Foot of the Bed with David Hansel on Thursdays. So let's add her in now.
Hi. And I feel exactly the same way about you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm just so grateful. It was a last minute, hey, what you doing? So I did not read your whole bio. Do you want to give everybody your bio?
Yeah, it's so much easier and it's quicker. So hi, everybody. Like Kerrilynn said, yes.
Oh, you say it so gracefully.
Oh, yeah, right. I'm a Canadian psychic medium, crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher and mentor, also a nurse. I'm a budding animal communicator. I'm well versed in the paranormal because we even shared our story on the Travel Channel's Paranormal Survivor, Season 4, Episode 9. And I'm also very well versed in near-death experiences, having had one as a toddler. And I've studied it professionally and personally for over 40 years. Yay! That's much easier and fast.
Right? And we talked about that experience when I had you on the very first time, which was in June. I looked back to see when I had you on. So it was like June 2023 when you were on the first time. So if anybody wanted to hear that story and that background, that segment, they can go into the archives. So we are broadcasting live on YouTube, Facebook, Roku. You can find us on Roku under UFO. Is it slash or space? UFO Space Paranormal Radio.
I usually say, sometimes I mess it up, but I always say UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio. So it covers both of them. Yeah. And then I said, just call us UPRN.
Exactly. And that's how I remember it too. The easiest is UPRN. It's UPRN. It's just easier that way. Hi, Christopher.
Hi, Christopher. Hi, Julie. Hi, Contessa.
Hi, Julie. Hi, Contessa. Thank you so much. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
Yes. Yes.
I had a weird experience this week. I'm going to share with everybody. I'm going to share with you, and you can tell me what your thoughts are as well, too.
Okay.
It was weird.
Because we haven't had a chance to talk really all week anyways. So
No. We haven't at all.
Hi, Cindy Simpson.
Hi, Cindy. Hi, Denise.
I'm going to share this on Facebook while you're talking too on my profile. We'll probably get a few more people popping in here. So go ahead. I'm dying to hear now. You got me curious.
Okay. So I think it was on Wednesday. So my youngest son's father.
Okay.
He had given me his little small gas container, like the gasoline travel
jerry can or
jerry can. Yes, exactly. The jerry can to store over here because he can't keep it in his apartment. So I have it over here at my house for him. And he said he was going up north. So I'm going to have a squirrel moment. I was thinking about this too before the show about up north. I say up north because I'm from the Sault Ste. Marie area. In Ontario, and you are in Thunder Bay, Ontario. Yeah. So when people in Southern Ontario who are from Southern Ontario say they're going up north and they say they're going to the Barrie area, I always kind of go, that's not really up north.
That's not north.
That's not north. Do the people in Thunder Bay think the same thing about the people from the Sioux?
That what? You're from the north?
That we're not from the north because we're not as north as...
No, where I cut it off is at the Sioux for myself personally, but I really hate to hear and nothing against people in Sudbury, but they're 4.5 hours away from Toronto. So you're not really in the north. The Sioux, yes, I consider you guys part of Northern Ontario. Absolutely.
Yeah. I just wondered. Okay, so back to my story. Jerry can at our house. He bought property up north, and so he was going to be going up north and needed to take the jerry can with him. And he said, "I'll be by Thursday to pick it up." He drives this big white Dodge truck, right? He's got this beard. He wears these aviator sunglasses all the time. So on Wednesday, I was sitting out on the porch, and I didn't have my glasses on, so I can't see like very well past the porch if I don't have my glasses on. Like the other side of the street, forget it. People will wave and I'll wave, but I don't know who's waving at me. I can just tell that the arm is moving.
Yeah.
So this big white Dodge truck parked along the boulevard and waved at me. So I thought I did something wrong. So I'm like, oh my goodness. I waved back. I went, just a second. And I'm signing, like, just 1 second. And I dashed through the house to go to the backyard to grab the jerry can. And then I boot it to the front through the driveway to get the.
Want me to do that for you?
Yes, thank you. We're gonna flush the toilet.
Flush the toilet. Go ahead, so you can continue your story.
So we were. We're just gonna get rid of that. So yeah, so I rushed to the front of the house to grab this jerry can so that he could have it to take up with him up north, and the truck was gone. It was gone. And so I texted and I went, "Hey, you didn't wait. I'm sorry. I didn't have it ready. I thought you said Thursday." And he messaged back and he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I'm in Kitchener and I'm in Guelph." So he's like 25 minutes away from me. Right. And I said, "You didn't just pull up in front of the house, stop your vehicle and wave at me?" And he's like, "No." And I said, "Wow." Like I saw beard dude moving forward and waving at me, same truck, same white Dodge truck, waved at me, and then I waved back, and then it clicked like I had done, perimenopausal foggy brain that I didn't remember on the list of things that I need to do. Yeah. And when I got back into the front, the truck was gone, and he's like, "I don't know what that was, but that's weird."
That is weird.
So what do you think? I mean, you can't doppelganger a truck.
You can't, but I was wondering.
Can you?
Well, everything's energy. I had a doppelganger in my house of me in my old house all the time. But a truck's a pretty big thing. But you know what I was thinking? I was thinking, because with the abilities that we were using, because I believe we all have them, is that what if you were kind of just given a view of it for some reason? Maybe you guys were both thinking of it at the same time, popped into existence, like you could see it, remote view, like portal time dimension. I don't know.
Like, if anybody that's listening has a thought, join in the conversation, because it was a thing. It was, hi, Wiz, thank you for being here.
You know what? That is.
Hi, Jody.
Crazy.
Isn't it crazy? It's very crazy. And I've had a lot of like weird little things like that happening. I don't know if it's just the way the planets are lining up. Hi, Kathy. Thank you for being here. Hi, Fiona. Thank you, Amanda.
You know what? I don't know, because my mind's going in a million different directions. Like it almost, because first of all, it wasn't even the right day.
Nope.
Second of all,
not the right day.
To me, it's just almost like did you switch a timeline? Did you go forward?
I was thinking about that alternate reality, something layered over top.
Yeah.
Future coming back. And that was something, that, it's unfortunate that whatever happened, that the guest originally that was going to be on tonight couldn't be on, because that was actually one of the questions I was going to ask her was, are future selves coming back as our spirit guides? Can our future self come back as our spirit guide? So, was a future self of him back here?
I have wondered that myself, because I've seen that theory before.
Yeah.
you know what? But to me, you would think there would have to be a purpose. And as I'm listening, being really clairaudient, as most of us doing this work are, I'm thinking, was that to let you know to have but you would have anyways, you would have known he was coming, but to have it ready so he didn't take off? I don't know. Like have the jerry can ready? I don't know.
I don't know. Well, we can't leave anything on our front porch really because the porch.
No, but while you're waiting,
yeah, but it wasn't even the right day. It was a day ahead. Denise is just saying coinky dinks and timeline jumping for sure.
I like Denise's comment. Maybe that's what it was.
Glitch in the Matrix, Lisa. Christel Westfall saying.
Well, have you seen those TikTok videos that are out there with Glitch in the Matrix?
No.
And the person will say, I had a pair of AirPods and I was cleaning. I only have one pair of AirPods. I'm on a strict budget. Like there's no way, right? And then I buy another pair, and they show you right on camera, like they were cleaning and under their bed all of a sudden was an exact identical pair. Like, I don't know if they had something unique on the cover even. I've seen that. I've seen antique things that have duplicated and triplicated. Even my co-host David Hansel had this pair of studs he wears. And I remember him telling me about this. He couldn't believe it. Like he had lost it, I think, and moved houses. Like there was no way it could be there. And I think he either found the missing one or there was an extra one he also found identical.
So I have seen things disappear and come back or be placed somewhere else. I've seen children manifest sand in the bathtub in the middle of winter. Like weird things that can manifest, but like a whole truck and the dude right in front of my house.
That is crazy.
And the truck was still there when I was moving to go in the house, because then I was like, oh my gosh, because, don't want to irritate him. Should have had it ready, all that stuff, and make
it super smooth so he can get on his way, kind of thing. Yeah,
but really, he doesn't get irritated. He doesn't get upset that way at all. And if I had been thinking, he normally says like, "I'm on my way," so that I'm ready for him to come. He doesn't
want to put you out either.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was just super weird that I saw. And it was there when I was going in the house, and I was running as fast as I like. I don't really like running or sweating.
I'm seeing more type things. I like people are talking about these things and sharing them, and Contessa's got something there. Let's see.
Yeah. I've heard that. Contessa's just sharing. I have heard that it's called multilocation.
I think multi-location.
Multi-location.
Or bilocation? Is that what you meant? Maybe
Contessa? The ability for an individual or object to be or appear in two different places at the same
time. Yeah, bilocation. I've heard of that. Yeah.
So is that him thinking about his list of things that he needs to do?
That's what I was thinking.
That it manifests at the same time?
Yeah.
We are powerful beings. He'll actually laugh if I tell him that. He will laugh at it.
I hear you.
Bilocation.
Yeah, she says bilocation. I have heard of that before. Bilocation, definitely.
Wow.
That is crazy. You got me beat on crazy, because what happened, there's been a few little things here and there, but
since the eclipse?
Yeah, since the eclipse. No, I left you a voice message, and of course I'm talking a mile a minute, and I don't know if you caught it. One of them I sent you, I go, holy crap, because my partner was at work and I was cleaning and I was thinking about going to vacuum, and I was leaving you a voice message, and I go, I can't believe what I just saw. And I saw on the couch, we call his kind of couch, this black thing, I get goosebumps, black. It looked almost spiky, went flying across the couch. And I said it out loud to you. And I thought, oh, she probably didn't hear me say it. But I went, what the heck was that? I go, I'm just going to pretend it wasn't there. And I just kept going.
So that's funny that we're going to talk about shadow figures and that sort of thing tonight, or whatever that black
I couldn't believe mask was. because my dog is, mind you, my dog's been a little hyper over the last couple of days. Mind you, she's just coming out of being in heat. So you know how, well, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but with the hormones with females, sometimes with, at least with dogs, they get kind of clingy and a little wingy. And
Yeah.
so she's been that way over the last couple weeks, but she's been in heat. She's almost done, but she didn't notice it. So, because my dog, well, most animals are, but my dog is my barometer. Even before I
Yeah.
pick something up, she will.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, whatever it is, I think I said out loud, okay, wherever you came from, you need to head out.
And intention matters.
Mm-hmm.
Intention matters, and not feeding into it, right?
Exactly. And not, it's, I always used to say before I knew what I know now, especially in my previous home, I used to say there was a fine line between fear and standing in your power and in your dominion. Because, you know, my partner, he was thrown 15 feet across the kitchen. He didn't tell me for 2 days because he's such a skeptic. He's got his voltmeter out because he was in the fridge when it happened. It was about 3 a.m. He thought he had gotten a shock or something. He didn't feel like he got a shock, but he was trying to be logical about why this could happen. And I used to say the reason why there was a thin line is because if you can't see what's there and it's got enough power to throw a 175-pound, 6-foot man, right? And then you realize, though, once you start to understand more about this and how energy works and standing in your powers, understanding about vibration and being grounded and what have you, and we do have that power.
Yeah.
So,
and light always, like, light came first.
Yes.
Than the dark.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Oh, Miss Deborah, I'm so glad you're here. So Deborah Morse is sharing, bilocation is absolutely real. Adepts have the ability. So Deb, you kind of, I don't know if you heard my quick little story, but my youngest son's dad was going to be coming by on yesterday, on Thursday, to pick up a jerry can of gasoline. And on Wednesday, I was sitting out on my swing on the porch, didn't have my glasses on, but the porch is right beside the sidewalk and the boulevard is maybe 2 feet wide at most and parked right in front of the house. And then so this white truck, just like his dad's truck, and dude with a beard and the same sort of aviator glasses leaned forward and waved at me. And I thought I made a mistake. And I went running, grabbed the jerry can. When I came back, the truck was gone, and messaged his dad. And he's like, I wasn't there. I'm still at home. So by location, maybe. Well, I don't know.
That's what, I didn't explain it well, but when I was first thinking about this, that's what I was wondering. Now, I'm not saying you were thinking of him, but as soon as you saw it, like maybe he was thinking about it, because there's a lot of people that are really powerful that they have no idea. Like, for example, my ex-husband, I'd been in labor with my youngest child and I had really bad back labor with both kids. And I was in a lot of pain. And my ex-husband, I was a NICU nurse, labor and delivery and stuff. And his mom used to work in the same hospital. So they knew me, they knew his mom. And so he'd come down with a really bad cold when I went into labor, and they're all going, his name is Earl. And they're all going, oh, poor Earl, go lay down and get some rest. It's like, hello, lady having a baby here, right? And I was a little annoyed. I remember this. And this British nurse came in and she said, do you mind if I do some therapeutic touch on you? Or I said, I don't care. I said, I don't care what you do. I was just so much pain. So I couldn't see what she was doing. I knew within the nursing field, there were other nurses that I worked with that were using therapeutic touch in the home setting. So something I always wanted to look into. I swear to God, I had no pain for an hour and a half. I got to sleep. So I know it's a long story. My whole point is, ex-hubby, at the time hubby, said, wow, if it's working that great on your pain, imagine what it'll help with your back injury. Let's take a course. So, and he doesn't believe in all this stuff either. He'll be respectful, but it's kind of like not his thing, right? And we take this course, and he's not partnered with me. He's partnered with this woman he doesn't know. And the first time he did therapeutic touch, she passed out. And he thought he had killed her. He was so terrified. And, our instructor explained, no, you're obviously pretty powerful with energy healing. So that's where I'm going with this big, long story. He had no idea about this, yet some people are pretty powerful. So you never know.
Wow. It would be interesting if his dad starts going all Avatar on everybody.
Yeah.
We'll all be surprised. We would love it though. It'll be great for him. He's a good dude, so it'll be interesting. Deb is sharing there was a hit song in the 70s called Radar Love that was all about this. I did
not know that song was about that, did you?
We're all going to be Google searching the lyrics now.
Mm-hmm.
Wiz is just sharing that something new for me is seeing animals' energy.
Oh yeah, for sure. Animal energy. Yeah, they have similar chakra systems to what we do, but they're much more sensitive. And it's such a misnomer, therapeutic touch, because you don't touch the person. You work with their aura or energy field for people listening. And so I've used it on my animals, or if I've seen an animal that needs healing, or, and you can offer it. If the animal doesn't want it, it just won't accept it, right? But I know that I usually have to stand back a lot further than I would with a human being to do therapeutic touch.
Because are they just more sensitive?
Yeah, much more sensitive. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay. Mm-hmm. Shadow figures. Can we talk about shadow figures?
We talk about whatever you like.
Well, I'm a little more grounded now than what I was earlier. So we won't be too squirrely tonight, but
we can go wherever you like.
Let's talk about
you know what? The minute I met Kerrilynn, she said hi, and I knew I was going to be friends with her and just adore her, and I do. So she mentioned she didn't know what was going on tonight. So if you need me, I'm there, because I love doing shows with you. So we're going to go wherever you like, or wherever the people in the audience want to go.
We get to meet in person in October.
I can't wait.
So in October, folks, Lake Superior Paracon is happening in Thunder Bay. Gail and Mel, but I forget the name of Lucky Paranormal. Yeah, so Lucky Paranormal is hosting this, and they've put a lot of work into it. Sure. If you haven't checked it out, Shane Pittman is going to be a speaker. Jeff Belanger, me.
Chris Rutkowski, the Travel Channel. Is it the Something Sisters from the Travel Channel? I always forget.
So it's called Beyond the Haunting, but I don't know what their individual names are. But Beyond the Haunting, yeah. And I think they're from BC.
Winnipeg Paranormal, I think, is coming.
Dee McCauley.
Yeah, Dee's from around this area. He's a really nice guy. He put on a paranormal conference years ago.
Dale Quigley and Michael John from the Paranormal Voice out of Windsor, the Windsor Zone Paranormal Voice. They will be there as well too. Cool. They also have a podcast. That's what it's called, the Paranormal Voice. On I don't know if I think it's Sunday evenings.
Cool.
They're kind of fun.
I can't wait to meet all these new people.
They're going to be on Spirit Switchboard. So Dale and Michael John will be on June 21st. So that'll be fun. He wrote a book about his paranormal experiences, and they're quite intense, actually. So he's going to come on and talk about those.
So shadow people, yes, that's intriguing.
And so in research, this Spirit Switchboard has given me an opportunity to meet a lot of new people like yourself, and to connect with the guests that we have, and then we're doing the research, and we're looking up different videos and books, and I mean, I do, trying to prepare and be ready for them, right? And I have said this for a very long time personally. Like, I didn't really have a lot of teachers or mentors. I've had these abilities since the time I was a kid, kind of maneuvered through my own journey. And through taking ownership of my own healing journey, recognizing that my vibrational level would get higher the more that I was working on my personal healing. So the higher the vibrational level would get, the clearer the messages were. I had more confidence with it. I have never had a lot of fear when I'm seeing or feeling something that is dark, because through my experiences in sharing messages and giving messages, there's the dark has different perspectives to it. It could be their experience needing help. Like we don't go right to the demon word.
Exactly.
I don't. And a lot of times those, what feels lower are where I like to work the most, because there's the most amount of healing that's happening in those sessions, and they're looking for healing and they're looking for atonement and forgiveness and all that sort of stuff. So when I've seen shadow figures, I don't know, that barometer, like if I lean into it, does it feel like it's something that's needing help or support? I didn't go to demon stuff.
I have experience with shadow people.
But good or bad, because I've had both. I've had good and bad too, but both. I just don't go to bad right away.
This was in my previous home, but have you ever met Heidi Hollis?
Mm-mm.
I think she's on Coast to Coast now. Coast to Coast. She's got a podcast over there, but she once upon a time ago was on this network, and she was also on my previous network. That's how I met her.
Hi, Sean. Thanks for popping in and saying hi.
Hi, Sean Kelly.
So, and if everybody is following along with UPRN family and host, Sean is the host of Into the Night on Sunday evenings and on Tuesdays.
Yes. Awesome.
He was just recently on too, so if you look through the archives, you'll find that segment when he was on.
Cool. He was, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Heidi, she's been talking about Hat Man and Shadow Man for a long time. She's actually trademarked the name.
Trademarked Hat Man or Shadow Man, or both?
I believe Hat Man. I'd have to double check. You can look her up on her website, HeidiHollis.com. And so I learned a bit about it. But so in my previous home, backing up, so I got some information from her, and I took what resonated and left the rest.
Yep. Which is what we should do if we're using discernment.
But I had what would be known as a Hat Man in my home, one of the four main entities. So before I get into that story, though, and I've had some conversations on panels with people, that there are people that believe that anything in shadow is automatically evil, negative, and you should stay away from it. I do not agree in any way, shape, or form.
It just feels so fear-based. It feels like you're feeding into the fear immediately and perpetuating it.
Mm-hmm. But the Hat Man and the phenomena behind it, and the lore is, and it always shows up this way. It's tall, it's dark, looks like it's wearing a fedora. I know you know this for people listening. And like he's wearing a trench coat. And he didn't do much with myself, really. It seemed to be, I lived all with men, obviously. My partner's a male, my two sons, they had a lot of experiences and led to a lot of negativity and what have you. But that's the problem, right? People do exactly what you said. And I'm still not convinced what this Shadow Man, Hat Man, why it was there, what he was doing, because we had four main entities in the home. But he was there, and I've seen pictures of it caught on camera. That's part of Heidi's podcast. People write in asking about this phenomena. What is it? Why is it there? How can I get rid of it? And she has said that this has been around her since she can remember, back to being almost a toddler. And so she reads people's letters with their permission and gives, hi, Jonathan Keyworth.
Hi, Jonathan.
And she gives advice. She especially has really tried to help children experiencing these kind of things, to help them. I believe she's got a couple of books out there to kind of empower them and to help teach them about it. So, help them out, basically. But I think it's wrong to jump to the conclusion that anything that is a shadow is a demon or negative.
So Exactly. Cindy is just Cindy Simpson. Thanks for being here, and thanks for finding all of the shows on the UPRN
Yes.
network. She's just saying, "I love Sean. Watching Sean is how I found so many amazing
It
podcasts on
was
the
so
channel."
cool. Mhm.
Teresa is just sharing the bowler hat.
Mine looked like he was wearing a fedora or a cowboy hat. And I have pictures in my phone. Can I say they're real? No, but there was one here locally somebody has sent me that they said they caught in their kitchen on video. I have that one. There's been a couple other ones I've had over the years people have sent, and he always looks the same.
So my question about that is, so if it's Hat Man, then you have people, so now it's been named and everyone putting their energy and intent into it. Are we creating just more of that, right? Like,
Yes. I knew
not
nothing
called a
about,
tulpa.
like a tulpa, but I knew nothing about this thing when I first saw it. Like, this is years ago, right? And I
So
didn't know. Go ahead.
sorry, no. My ADHD, I will rein it in.
So everything that happened to us in that home, I had strange, weird things happen. And none of it was I looking for it. It always found us. So I didn't know what a
Right.
hat man was. And the reason why I knew he wasn't going crazy, because we were all four of us, well, my son with autism can really tell us this at red eyes in my closet, but we were all finishing each other's sentences on what we were seeing and what we were experiencing. So none of us knew what a hat man was. None of us knew. I mean, of course, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Are they all clumped together then? Shadow Man, like Shadow People, Hat Man, are they all considered the same? Or are they not all different factions of something?
What I'm going to say is,
I think there's
the Hat
different
Man
factions.
notoriously has been called associated with something demonic. I can't say that because I really can't. There, because there was four main entities in our house, and I think there was a portal, at least one portal in that house. So I think things would come and go.
So dimensional.
Definitely dimensional, but with shadow people, okay, because there's so many reasons for why a spirit, I believe, could show up in shadow form. Like, what if, and we've seen this in paranormal investigations where they run out of energy and they need energy. What if something really was trying to manifest, but only had enough to show you a bit of a shadow or what have you, right? Or maybe that's their form that they take while they're.
So lower astral beings too.
Mhm, mhm.
So yeah.
I don't think we can jump to the conclusion and say it's a demon. And as
No.
much as I'm really happy with all, the popularity of the paranormal shows, the thing that concerns me though is people watch TV and they believe everything is real. And I'm going to use an example that has nothing to do with this. Right now, the big global phenomena is that story that's supposed to be based on a completely true story, Baby Reindeer. And what's off of Netflix? Everybody is fighting about the fact, is this a real story? Isn't it? The woman was a notorious stalker, for anybody who hasn't watched it, apparently. And this man wrote his story, and it's become the #1 series on Netflix. I guess internet sleuths were able to find out who she was immediately. And the whole thing is, and why people are all up in arms, is Netflix says it's based on a true story, or not based on, it is a true story. But the thing is, they were trying to hide this lady's identity, so it can't all be truth. But this is what people get hung up on. Same as with TV. People believe everything they see on TV. I've seen this so many times. Not everybody, or reality TV. That's the gospel truth because I saw it.
Not everybody will take the time to research too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let me just
You got some good comments here.
yes, Contessa's just showing, when my nephew was young, he used to see a dark shadow tall man at a corner of his room. This went on for a while until my brother got the room blessed. It scared him. He would scream and cry. So I've done a lot of work with children who are sensitive and children who are having these kind of experiences.
Mm-hmm.
It's where I really started off, like 17 years ago, when I started doing this work full time. And some of the shadow figures that I have seen were loved ones that were crossed over, that were needing support or help. And so it would be scary to see a shadow in the corner. And then I still have those left brain questions. Is there a nightlight? Is there a street light outside of the window? There's other things to consider too, before we go to the spirit, even though I'm the person that, like, I see the shadow people too, but we always go left brain first, and then we go to like the woo-woo end of things. Jonathan is saying black holes eat light. So why couldn't shadow people absorb light for energy? So that is something that I've also heard too, is that they feed off of the adrenaline that happens when little people are, the fear. They feed off that adrenaline. So
anger, fear, sadness, depression, illness. And I've met many people that went through severe haunting like we did. And then you'll meet other people that are working in this field, and bless their hearts, they'll say, I've never had an experience, I've never been touched, I've never had anything happen, I want it to happen. Or I've had really well-meaning people back years ago in our house saying, will you just send that, because something claimed it was a demon, told me its name. That's kind of how this all started years ago in a dream, like it happened 10 minutes ago. My whole point is, I had said to one person in particular, I said, I know you're coming from a beautiful space and you really want to help and you're not close by, but I said, thank God you've never had something like this in your life. And believe me, the problem is we think as human beings that something that's otherworldly or from another dimension, or I always say has been around since the beginning of time, has much more knowledge and usually much more power than we do. So people look at it with our human eyes. So it's almost like we expect it. And I'm not saying everybody, I'm not generalizing, but this person was thinking, I'll take care of it for you, but had really no idea. And I explained to them, when you have something like what we had in our home, it goes after things you can't control. It goes after, because it wants you in that state, right? Depressed and angry and sad or in fear.
and
So you're going to go after your
that
finances, your health, your money, things. And that's what happens. I found.
and that entity could be, you don't know how old, and has fed for how long off of
Yep.
how many people, and we, if we don't have the knowledge and really the understanding to approach that, right, it's because I had an experience, a learning curve moment. I mean, I was able to handle it after, but it was a learning curve moment for sure. I just want to Sean Kelly's just sharing, I believe shadow people are on a straight line. Half of them are in their realm and the other half are in our realm.
I like that. It's an interesting thought process.
For sure. Hi, Sandra. Thanks for being here. Hi, Sherry. Thank you so much for popping in and chiming in the chat and being part of our show. We're not giving individual messages out today. We are just talking about shadow people, soul eaters. We're going to get into some of those or experiences. If you've had any of those experiences or want to join in the conversation, please do. We're glad that you are here. So Deb Morse is my friend from California. She's magnificent. Everything about magnificent. So she's a sensitive medium. She was a nurse, similar to you, and a lawyer.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yes. All of that. So she's saying the Netflix PR pushback about that general vibe is the promo should have said based on a true story for all sorts of legal reasons. That's the buzz in the law community. I agree.
I was trying not to get too far off base about it.
But
okay. But Deb is right.
Yeah.
And I've been watching this and looking at the analysis of the body language, and it's a fascinating case, really, but very tragic. Very tragic. To hurt people. Long story, but I just pulled it in from as an example, but I couldn't agree more with you, Deb. Hi, Michelle Plummer.
Yes, hi, Michelle. We are just, yes, we got to flush the toilet. I'm trying to get onto it. I thought I had blocked
them. I'll delete them. There you go. Flush the toilet. There we go. They're flushed.
Thank you to Howie for sharing that comment with us.
So Kathy's asking, what are soul eaters?
So it's interesting, because I've never had that. We talked about it today because we were seeing it on a different podcast.
Oh, let's just shout them out. We both have, we're fangirling.
Oh my gosh, I'm a total fan girl. I am a
My
fan
boys are
girl.
on tonight. My boys are on tonight, though. So, and you've gotten into them too. The Foreman brothers on Paranormal Nightmare. Hi, Colleen.
Hi, Colleen. So, Sean, I hadn't heard of soul eaters either, but I have when I was watching the podcast. So it was actually with Sean Clan. He was talking about soul eaters, and then it clicked. Like, I have had an experience with something similar, but I didn't call them soul eaters, and it wasn't the experience that he was talking about either. So the experience that I had, more than once, actually twice, I've had them, where there is a soul that went to that in-between space, didn't transition, went to that in-between space for whatever reason, if it was trauma, belief, karma, whatever the experiences were, there was in that in-between space, but chose to be in a space where they could collect souls or prevent souls from crossing over and feeding off of the energies of those souls. So, like, there was souls wanting to be transitioned from the place that I was investigating, but they were stuck because that soul was keeping them in that space and feeding off of them. So absorbing that energy, feeding off of that energy. So I've seen that twice, but I had just never heard of it as a soul eater before until this afternoon, really, when I was watching that video with Sean Clem.
I had heard him talk about soul eaters before. So for people maybe that don't know who Sean Clan is, he is a First Nations Navajo guardian. Him and his brother, there was a third gentleman on their team, and he very sadly has passed away. So he was talking, he actually has a really cool channel that he just started a few months ago.
Very cool.
How I found him too was I liked the Paranormal Files, and Colin Brown was traveling with his parents, and he interviewed Sean Penn. And I went, wow, I got to find out more about this guy. So he's teaching about the paranormal world because he works within it. He was just with, well, shall we say, Mr. Tight T-shirt wearing, big TV show. He's got an episode coming on. And so he was teaching about this. So I tried to look up information on what is a soul eater, because we only heard his perspective. Would you believe that all I found, and I was just on YouTube, I didn't have enough time, there is an anime series out of Japan called Soul Eater. So to me, there must be some type of being in Japanese lore.
Well, I agree. Probably in all kinds of, because all stories originate from somewhere, and some piece of truth. In different cultures, we just call them different things, right? So I just know, and he was, his thoughts were they go to those places that are hidden. They go to those places that can hide. And I haven't had that experience to see.
Well, how
but I saw that spirit definitely was dark, didn't give me the comfy glad. I had some sort of protection when I was dealing with it, but those spirits couldn't move because that soul was collecting them in that space and feeding off of them.
But the way he explained it, and I was saying this too in a couple of voice messages earlier this afternoon. And again, I think we need to look at everything this way, is to take a look, take what resonates with you and leave the rest. So the way he explained it is, he calls his belief, his higher power, he calls the great creator, right? And he had said that if somebody passes away very, say, quickly or tragically, and it's not their time, and that they don't have guardians or family on the other side, there's nobody there to help collect them and bring them on their journey into
Right.
the next realm. And so he said the soul eater's main purpose was to clean up so that we don't get an overabundance of lost souls on this plane on Earth. And some of the things he said, it just couldn't resonate with me. I believe there could be an entity like this, and he described it. He said there. Go ahead.
Yes, which then comes back to good and evil, because
Mhm.
if that person, if that entity, if that soul eater is doing their role in making sure that there is not this overabundance, is that evil? If they're just doing what they need to do to make sure they're cleaning up, is that good? Is it evil?
I love what he said. And remember when we were first talking about him and we went, yes, 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 because on his other channel, they were doing the paranormal investigation and they were going after the skinwalkers, right? And
Which is
they
a
found,
misunderstood term too.
yes, very misunderstood.
Yes.
And he said, though, what I loved about them, they did find the skinwalkers. You guys can watch this on their YouTube channel. It is crazy what's caught on camera. They're like the
Content
wind
Productions.
picking up and the whole bit. But the beauty in it is they weren't there to remove the Navajo skinwalkers. It was their place where they stay. They knew that, but they went in there to offer assistance and to help settle the energy.
Yes. So that was something I had wrote down too, right? About spiritual harmony, which is originally where I got hooked into Sean Clen, was understanding
Mhm.
spiritual harmony and our intention. Are we going in to help? Are we going in to provoke? Are we going in to understand?
To
And what
respect.
is our intention? Yeah. And that has always been the way that I've worked from
Me too.
little to now, is helping and moving and not abusing spirits too.
That's why I liked how he talked today
Yeah.
about this video, though. Is
Yeah.
he, and I know we've had conversations off air even about this. You know, on Earth, there's always that yin yang, that hot, cold, white, black, whatever it may be, good, evil.
Yeah.
And the way he sort of left it at is it's terrifying to run into something like this.
Yeah.
But he said he sort of explained in a way with the belief system he had that it's necessary and they have a purpose, right?
So my other thought is they have this beautiful tradition of oral stories and oral teaching that the rest of us have lost along the way or never had to begin with.
Yeah.
And so if we were to ask, would there be a history for us to learn that and have a different perspective as well too, because that's so far outside of what we know. So right now it's uncomfortable, but if we now are open to it and then we have an experience, we may have a different perspective, or we hear a different take on
You know
it.
what you made me think of with that? And I think I think you watched this video too when you saw his channel, because I think we talked about it briefly, is he actually has on the new channel, Sean Clen Productions, he's got pictures of beings. And he asks you to use your gut.
Did
Go
you
ahead.
do? How did you do?
Actually, pretty good. I think I got one wrong.
I got them 100% right.
Well, I knew you would.
Yeah, I got them 100% right.
I
So
was proud of myself, though.
yeah, one wrong is good too, because it just means you're tuned in in well.
Well, not just
They
using your
interrupted.
eyes. You can't use if you used your
No.
eyes, you get them all wrong.
Yes.
All wrong.
So I'm so sorry that I interrupted. And
Go ahead.
he's sharing, can you tell the difference between good and evil? Can you tell the difference? And it really is leaning into feel. But the more that you are on a personal healing journey, the better you are going to be able to discern what you are feeling and picking up. And some things that look scary are not. And I see that in sessions with people. I have had people get very upset with who is coming through first.
Yes.
Because there's healing coming through that have done horrible, horrific things. Exactly. And the power in trying to change the generational patterns and why they're there, and what they had to experience because of that, right? Like with their actions. So discerning good and evil. So Sean Clem, sorry, I'm sorry that I hijacked this, but he does. He's got these images.
It's your show.
These images you can look at, and he says, "Is this good or is this bad?" And he goes through it with you to say which ones were good and which ones are bad, and talking about that. Right? There's a couple of messages I wanted to get through this. Joanne Belisario is saying, "I guess the trap souls that are preyed upon would see it as evil," and this is true because Sean Clem teaches the same thing where he's saying, you know, if you don't have a belief system, you can get stuck, and you need to find the light somehow, because that is what he believes, right? And what he's been taught through oral stories and generations. Teresa is just sharing, I'm not sure about the soul eaters. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. The thought process, Teresa, is so that we don't have this overabundance. They're not taking up that space.
He says they eat them, so we don't have the overabundance. And I got to agree with you, Teresa. I couldn't agree with everything, because to me, he said there were places that the creator can't go. Well, in my mind, I believe in God. I'm not telling people what to believe, but for me, if God created us all and we are the I am, we are all a part of God, whatever you want to believe your belief system is, part of that is we have the ability to create.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if it's here, there's some power that has helped either help it create something to create that other thing, or it has been created by the creator, if that makes sense. So he was saying also that, you know, your loved ones and your guardians and whatever, if you pass really quickly or it's unexpected, they won't even know. I don't believe that. I don't, because I think we're looking at it with human eyes.
Yes.
Because we know with the spirit world, you could be in a gazillion, bajillion different places at once. Like it just didn't make sense to me, that part.
And something that he shared that made sense to me and validated something that I have always believed, was that we don't get to know everything. We can't know everything because we have to have those experiences once we pass.
Yeah.
Like we don't get to know. So we have to be okay with the unknown parts. Contessa is just sharing, this kind of reminds me a little bit of the sin eater, when it's the sin eater eats a ritual meal in order to take away the sins of the person that is dying. Oh, it's up here. Sorry, Melody. I had it up and I wanted to get to it. Melody was asking, so do you think they can reach souls that are still living and in a fragile state? Well, that comes back to the shadow people, because the shadow people, paralysis, like people that are in sleep paralysis, are seeing that shadow person. And again, his Sean Clen's experience saying that the shadow people were created with no face, and so sleep paralysis is coming from a place of jealousy on their part, in wanting to take that identity and take that soul and have an identity that's separate, and individuality, right? But I have had to help in a home where it definitely, but I saw that shadow figure. It was definitely coming from a portal outside of the house, coming into the house above the person's bed, and literally making them sick, feeding off of them, and needing to go, and that door being closed and moved. And it's not easy, and it doesn't happen in one go. Like,
no, it can't. No. And the other thing I like what he said too, Kerrilynn, and I have to agree, and we're not making him the be all the end all. It's just so we come across.
It's just fascinating.
It's fascinating. It's a different way of looking at things. But I love the perspective, because I don't agree, like I said, with possibly everything. And I'm not saying he's wrong, because I don't know everything. But to me, with my belief system, I believe there's soul leaders? Absolutely. You can call them whatever you want. They're there. But he was also talking about the breadth and depth of different entities, and whatever you want to call them, creatures, spirits, whatever you want to call them. And I agree with that.
Yeah,
because, yeah, I do. Like, and he said there's not just angels and demons, and that part I agree with wholeheartedly.
Yeah. things that we do not understand, and it's a rabbit hole, and we can't understand it all because we're still on the human side of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're still on the human side of things. And I know that, yeah, what I got scratched by was not, I don't know what it was, but it was dark, and it was a creature, and I wouldn't say that it was a demon. It was something different.
I have a picture I took in my previous home, and I was wearing, it was a bra, but it looked like a bikini top. It was super cute. It was pink. It had plaid. Like, it really looked like a bikini top. And I was combing my hair in the mirror in the bathroom. And I always have my phone because I'm listening to something. And all of a sudden, as I'm looking down, because I start looking down because I feel this burning right here, like burning, 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 burning. And I look down, and I have a picture of it. It looks like something burnt its fingers into my chest. And my partner didn't believe me because he's a skeptic. He's going, you must have done it yourself, or you must have brushed your hair. And then when he started having things happening to him, then he finally realized, oh yeah, maybe there is something going on here. So it's not fun when if you get injured either way, it's not fun, but especially by something dark like that, because it's just got such an icky, skeevy feeling. Would you agree?
Oh, for sure. When I got scratched, it was 3 scratches from my wrist to my elbow, and I was clearing out the energy of my son's space at the time, and he was definitely being affected by something. And I think I got it early, but I didn't handle it the right way at the beginning, and I definitely got that scratch. And it just felt, I don't know, it felt hot, like this instant hot
burning.
And I kind of looked down, and I thought maybe I had dropped, some of the stuff that I was burning on my arm, and I didn't see anything right away. And then it just kept getting hotter and more intense. And then it was welted and red and raised. And then I just got mad. Like, I got scared, and then I got mad.
How dare you?
Yeah. No. Whatever you are not going to bug my kid like that,
Mm-hmm.
But it was a good learning curve for me because I hadn't protected myself. I hadn't called my divine team in. I went in all ego about me, and we can't do that. So
you cannot deal with anything.
No, and it was the best lesson I could have had at the time, and I've never had to have a reminder since then.
Do you think your team stepped back because they kind of saw the bigger picture, right?
Right. And I think too, I was not at that place of understanding the same way I am now, how much my ancestors are a part of what I'm doing and protecting me and letting and watching over me. Shadow bullies. Teresa's just saying shadow bullies. Shadow bullies. Those who keep them from moving on. And
okay, so Sean Clen, how do you spell it? So you spell it S-H-E-N. Is it? I thought it was E-N. E-N? Is it A-N? Okay, listen to Kerrilynn.
It's S-H-A-N-C-L-E-N.
Okay.
I believe so.
Yeah, I'll look him up because I always forget the name of the paranormal channel. I'm telling you guys, if you want to watch some interesting investigations, go ahead.
I agree. Melody is just sharing, I was sending love to someone I felt had something attached, just sending them love. And then it was like a portal opened, and I saw a demon-like creature whipped its head to look at me. It let me know it saw me, and I was just sending love.
That's a beautiful thing, because that's how
it was what you saw. And it's good that you could feel the difference between the two, right?
Well, I was going to say, even with my son that has severe autism as a little guy, when we were in our house, I was even able to teach him that when you get angry or you get really sad, or because he had a lot of anger issues, and I was trying to explain it to him, and he only eats 6 foods. So I said, when you get angry, that's like chicken nuggets and French fries to what's in our house. But when you start thinking of mommy and daddy and your brother and your family and how much you love them and your kitty, that's like broccoli to them. And he was able to understand that, right? Because sending positive stuff to, and Kerrilynn absolutely is right. SHANCLEN Productions. Do you remember the name of their YouTube The paranormal, something super. Is it exploring the supernatural?
I haven't looked it up. I just have been.
Hang on, I'll find it, because that's the one with the investigations on it.
Yeah, I
And
haven't watched any of the investigation ones.
oh my God, Kerrilynn, you
I
have to watch them.
haven't
Oh
yet.
gosh.
But I guess no, I appreciated when with the Sean Clem Productions, he's teaching a little bit more, a little bit at a time, and what he's allowed to teach, and as far as comfortable as he is in teaching, and it just resonates with what I've known to be true and how I've approached things. So Deb is saying sometimes your team lets you have a little injury in order to prevent a bigger one later. I was thankful for the experience, for sure, grateful and appreciative, because I have taught differently, approached differently.
That's what I was almost feeling, like they stepped back because they knew you wouldn't be seriously harmed, but it would be a very good learning lesson. And sometimes they will do that. I absolutely agree, Deb. Sorry, I always get the name of it wrong. It's called Unearthing the Supernatural. And there's one that I think they call it Going After Skinwalkers or something. I am telling you guys, you watch that, it is crazy. Like the wind starts picking up. You can see these lights, and his older brother Hero, because they work together and they work in tandem. It's incredible. And he sings the song of his people and the healing songs, but they do a lot of teaching in their videos as well as to what they're doing and why they're doing it. Really incredible. Sorry, I jumped in there.
No, it's good. I appreciate that. And Tanya's just sharing, oh, that's good. My nephew is autistic, and there is safe, happy food too. My granddaughter too.
Oh, thanks for sharing that, Tansy.
And as long as the companies don't change their breading,
and they know too. They know by the smell.
Texture, the smell.
Yeah. Well, before it gets in the mouth, I meant my kid will know by the smell.
Yeah, not even dibs. Oh, Kathy, I'm sorry. I saw this and I meant to put this up. She said, that's funny. You said angels and demons. I have it on TV right now. Denise is sharing Sean Clem Shadow Productions.
Thanks, Denise.
And you know what? I just appreciate the humbleness when he's sharing as well too. And I love the little bloopers at the end. So here's some lightness for you, because that felt really heavy. So here's the bloopers. And I think anybody who shares their bloopers there's a humbleness to them. There's some transparency. They don't take themselves super seriously, even though the work that you're doing is serious. And I appreciate that too.
I think he's a good teacher in the way that he's able to take, I think, more complicated topics and kind of make them so that anybody could watch and understand.
Well, there is a need for understanding and a need for teaching, because it has become what it is. Paranormal investigations, people diving into spiritual awareness, all of those things. And are we doing harm or good? And is there a whole bunch of people doing harm where the people who are doing good are outnumbered and having extra work to do? Because I don't know how you see it, but I've had some of that.
I agree with that. I have actually been saying lately that I'm almost finding that the term spirituality is just getting slapped over top of the name of religion. I'm not bashing religion.
Or spirituality.
Yeah, whatever way it takes you to your higher power, belief system, a happy life, great. But I'm finding there's, like, I was raised Roman Catholic. I was forced to go to Catholic school, to church, the whole bit, right?
Yeah.
And I could never understand it. So I always did the same thing every time we went in there, sat down, sit down, stand up, sit down, stand up, did all my sacraments and the whole bit. But it never really, I didn't get a lot out of it. And what I had a hard time with, and again, it was my experience, I'm not saying everybody's is like this, it was always the same people sitting in the same seats at this huge cathedral, and the rich people sat at the front, and it just went almost by social class. And then as the basket got tossed around for donations, everybody's looking like, what did you give? What did you give? And they're in their Sunday best. Everybody's all love and light till they walk out the door and come back. So I'm finding some of that, a lot of judginess and a lot of ego. And the only thing
but spiritual people can be too.
That's what I'm talking about. That's
Oh,
what I meant. Like, that's what I'm now finding with the spiritual field. We're seeing a lot of that.
yeah.
But I think you have to work with the people that you resonate with and
Mhm.
you feel good with and go from there.
Mhm.
But I'm
Yeah.
seeing a lot of it.
Yes. You know what? I don't know. I think I'm gonna just roll that back to I feel. I'm not gonna say I think. I feel.
I feel. Yes.
I
How
have
about that? I feel. I like
I
that.
have not had to deal with that very much.
No,
I
me
would
neither.
say in the last 6 years. Prior to that, it was a lot all the time. Now it's not so much in my face. If it's coming at me, it's coming at me indirectly, and I just shush it down really quickly. Right?
It's not coming at me, and I'm
Oh,
not,
I've had it at me.
and I'm not dealing. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, and I'm
yeah.
not
Me.
dealing with it. But I will hear from other people, and I'll hear them out, and I always say it's not my job to judge. But
No,
I just choose not to spend my energy in that arena, if you will.
for
Is
sure.
when
And
it's
it's
coming at you, there's not a lot you can do.
that's right. And we're sorry. It's I feel the again I hammer this home all the time. The more that we take ownership and accountability with our personal healing, I think it kind of moves, it separates. And I also switched how I was directing my energy to people. Praying doesn't always work. My email is kerrilynn.shellhorn@gmail.com. If you have a complaint, if you have something positive to say, you can send it to. But I think people will say, because they get in the love and letter track, I'm going to send you love, I'm going to send you love, I'm going to pray for you, I'm going to pray for you. But if you're doing that to somebody who is in a low energetic space, they respond like a hurt dog because they don't understand what's coming at them. So they snap, growl, bite, they hurtful words, actions that are hurtful, they give you more of what you don't want. So if you sent that energy, prayer, thought, intention, healing to the relationship that person represents, then it goes to that collective consciousness of one. It ripples out gently to them, and they're not going to have that jolting reaction to what you're sending to them, right? So, all mother-daughter relationships, all sibling relationships, all coworker relationships, all partner relationships, and then it goes gently to those people. So then I'm on the soapbox, folks. Hang tight for 2 more minutes with me. But
Wise words.
well, I think because we are nurturing people, our immediate reaction, and we're compassionate, if we're doing light work, we want to jump in and help right away. And so as soon as we jump in, we need to make sure that it's going to go in a way that honors us and it isn't causing more disruption.
I agree 100%.
So learning how to do it without causing disruption. So if you guys are joining us, we need to do some station ID now, just paying attention to the time. So if you are just joining us, you are listening to Spirit Switchboard. I'm your host, Kerrilynn Shellhorn. You are listening to us live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM out of New Orleans. And my guest today is my wonderful friend and colleague with the UPRN network, host of the Angel Rock on Mondays and the Thing at the Foot of the Bed with David Hansel on Thursdays, Lorilei Potvin.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I always love doing this with you. I always tell her we will never be at a shortage of things to talk about.
We're going to do it again in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks,
yes.
Folks, we have a fabulous show coming up in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, I have Julie Krause, spiritual advisor, who has been on the show before. Lorilei is coming back on, and Kim Sage is going to be coming on, and we are going to do a mediumship panel. I'm going to run the panel. I've already got a whole bunch of questions lined up. I'm hoping it will be entertaining and fun for us and educational for people as well too that are tuning into the show in 2 weeks.
I think it's going to be awesome. I love meeting new people. Denise, that is awesome. At first, it took me a minute till I read the name. Did you see that? Love it. I'm going to remember that. I'm going to take a picture.
Denise is just sharing. I remember seeing a sign at a business. If you have a problem, go to Helen Waite.
I just took a picture. I'll give credit where it's due. I'm not going to say I came up with
Lenwaite.
that. Is priceless. I love it. Love
That's
it. Love
funny.
it. Love it. So shadow people. Has anybody, I don't know, has anybody in the chat had an experience with shadow people at all? Or because I'm so glad actually that we're talking about that too, Kerrilynn, because like I say, you know, I think it's almost like we have to start walking into a situation. And I was just explaining this to someone recently. They were having some activity in their home and they were going to try and tackle it on their own. And I said, well, if you feel well prepared and knowledgeable, of course. But I said, there's also people out there, if you reach out, that are versed in dealing with this, because you kind of got to have the right remedy for the right situation, I think, too, don't you?
Yes. And then giving you the homework to do to keep educated and on top of it so that you're not recreating a problem again. Like it started for a reason, and understanding and taking ownership of your own healing and feeling empowered within your space. So having the help and support, but being open-minded to what you need to do to move forward in a healthy way too, right?
I'm still working on my healing journey. And even though I do healing work, I always say it takes a lot of courage and honesty to look yourself in the mirror and see what the real root of the problem is, versus maybe dealing with somebody that's working at it from an objective perspective. And the fact that going in there being open-minded, and yes, I'm willing to hear what you say, because I know it's going to help me heal. I just did that on Mother's Day with I had a session. It was a 3 or 4 hour session. It was called Psych K, and it was pretty heavy and went right back to conception almost. I'd never looked at my whole life from that perspective. It was quite intriguing too. Mm-hmm.
Yes, in utero stuff. My birth story with my youngest is really powerful. And I used to share it a lot at all of the Dining with the Dead events. And I still share it depending on how many new people are there. It's powerful. But that was my thought while I was pregnant with him. And I used to say it, this kid is only going to know me when I cry, because that is all I have done this pregnancy. And so I kept trying to go clear, cancel, and delete these heavy thoughts. You are loved, you are wanted. I was like, please don't. And then energetic cord cutting after he was born, and, trying to make sure that I was honoring his role in my world, and back and forth. But, recognizing in utero, some stuff can go sideways.
You know what, though, even before I was a mom and I worked in the NICU, labor and delivery, and maternal newborn. And moms that were, breastfeeding, third day, milk's coming in, hormones all over the place. And moms are just a mess. And they'd say, I don't know what's wrong. I read every book. And I'd say, not to everybody, but someone had a good sense of humor. I say, honey, it's not your fault. What the problem is, the baby never read the books, right? Yes. And the other thing is, and I truly believe this, whether you biologically have a child, adopt a child, or you don't have a child, but you're in a mother role looking after another living being, I don't think we just give birth to a child. We give birth to guilt. And we do. Well, we do. We don't have to, but we do.
Generations. Sandra, you've had shadow people experiences. I don't know if you feel comfortable in sharing. Mm-hmm. I would like to hear. Teresa is sharing, I don't want to have a preconception when I walk into a place, which is always good, right? Walking in open-minded. She's also sharing, shadow people are a little scary for me. And I understand that. I would explore where the fear is coming from. Is it coming from past life experience, a personal experience? Is it coming from stories that have been shared with you? Where is it coming from, so that, hopefully you can feel more empowered and move forward, right? Mm-hmm. Because I've had shadow people that were family members. It was just how they were coming through, that had healing messages. And then once we worked through whatever was healing that they needed in the spirit world, they presented differently after.
Mhm.
So,
I always ask people to, if they share an experience they've had or whatever, say that I'll do as I know you do. You've got it all set up too, but like even an interview process. But I want to ask them, how did you feel when this experience happened, or what you saw, and explore it a little bit deeper from what because I don't think we've ever been taught as human beings to realize how powerful we are, and that we are quite capable of sensing something, even though we may not think we are. One of the most beautiful exercises I learned years ago, it had to do with remote viewing. Lori, I always want to say Johnston. It's not. It's like a really common name like that. She's on Facebook. She has free master classes to get you into remote viewing if you want to learn how to do it. But one of the cool
love remote
exercises.
viewing.
Sorry.
I love remote viewing.
Well, it's under intuitive specialists. I'll look it up when we're talking. Intuitive specialists. You can look her up. She's got a website under that. Anyways, I don't know if I could do it in like at home so much, but she gets you to get into the habit of every time you change a room, or maybe you're going from outside to inside, you get to stop, if you're able to, take a breath and say, what do I sense and feel that's different? If you don't feel anything, that's okay. There's no pressure. Just getting used to walking into a different area and seeing what you feel, maybe energetically, through all your five senses. And another great exercise too, I remember years ago, say you want to tune into spirit and they haven't been doing it since early childhood like yourself, is to listen to music, especially music maybe you haven't heard before, and decide you're going to try and pick out, say, the bass, and just listen for the bass, or just listen. I found, at least for myself, a lot of those little exercises in the beginning were really helpful, to fine tune.
It very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Music for sure, and it depends on what you're drawn to, because certain music, you could play that same song on a loop over and over again and it pulls you up into that space. I feel where people have gone kind of lost that ability of discernment or feeling is using the thinking words, being too left brain and not being in touch with their body. And that's why taking those deep breaths and pausing and checking in with your body. How is your body responding to the space? How is your body giving you a message? And that is your intuition working through your body. So it has to be all together: your emotional body, your physical body, your etheric body, mental bodies, all of your bodies working together.
Absolutely.
Sandra is sharing they don't all feel negative. I ask if they need help going back home and get help getting them there. Exactly. I agree. Teresa is sharing, I have these little things I see out of the corner of my eye. They are so tiny, but not negative. It is when I'm up too late at night. I swear they're there to scare me to bed. Or watch over and guide, and maybe you're tired, so it scares. Just asking a question, not trying to dismiss or negate anything that you've shared.
I just want to throw it in, and I don't know why this is the easiest last name to remember. Williams, Lori Williams. And she trained with the original remote viewing team from the US military. And she's a really lovely lady. And like I said, she has a free, I think it's a 4-day master class on Facebook, teaching people just how to start tuning into how to remote view. So you ever want to check that out, you guys? She's got a website too with a lot of freebies.
The Wiz is just sharing there's magic in music.
Absolutely.
Hello, Bob. Hi, Bob. Thanks for being here. Bob is my neighbor.
Hi, Bob.
Lucky
guy.
Oh, I don't know. I'm so crazy busy. Poor Bob. He's gonna go by, and I have to see him as he's going by from my office window. Where I lived before, Kerrilynn knows the building. I'm not going to give the address. We both live on the same street, but I had one shadow person peek around and throw something on me. I duck right away, but the shadow person was dark black. I could see it out of my peripheral vision, but it threw something on me. Is it demonic? Is it a good one or a bad one?
I don't think it's demonic.
No, I don't think it's demonic either. And the amping up is different. Yeah.
I almost felt
Pretty bad.
just feeling into that lately, and I don't know you, Bob. I almost feel like it wants your attention, and it almost feels jokey to me. I don't know. Does it to you too? Like kind of like it's. I don't know if
Mischievous.
it's someone.
And if you look at your personality, your dad's personality, that family line, social.
You've got 3 people. I just said that, and I don't know you, Bob. Teresa just said sounds mischievous, and you said what you said.
Yeah. And I feel too, if you look at your cultural background too, like if you look, it's always, I feel, like your loved ones and your ancestors, even if you don't know them. That's so funny too. Do you have that come up in sessions, like where it's a family member that might be coming through and they'll say, but I never even knew them, but they're still your family member, so they want to be part of that divine team for you?
I can't remember one. The one that really freaked me out, but it was in Lifetime still, is I was on a show. My friend's now passed away, and I miss her dearly. She used to call herself my adopted mama, for me. And incredible numerologist and astrologist. Her name is Lois T. Martins, and she used to have this show on Blog Talk Radio called "I've Got Your Number," and so she had a panel. And she used to call it, she was just what you would have loved her, Kerrilynn. And she had this panel. She'd do it every 6 months inside the mind of a psychic. And she'd ask the questions people have always wanted to ask a psychic or medium. People would send them in, and we'd had so much fun. So all of us gave something away. So I gave away one of my crystal Reiki energy charging crystal plates I made, and I gave away a reading. I know it's a bit long. I'll try and shorten it. So long story short, the gentleman finally decides he wants to have a reading, but he's been very, very, very ill, almost died. That's why it took so long to have the reading. It was on a Saturday evening. I wake up in the morning. There's this little old lady standing at the end of my bed. I could see her like clear as day. And I said, "Hello, what are you doing here?" "Oh, I'm just here for the reading tonight," kind of thing, right? And she gave me a few messages. They made no sense to me whatsoever. But I knew this had to be like a grandmother or somebody with a grandmother role. So I mentioned it to the gentleman, and he goes, "Oh, that's got to be Nona," right? And so it went from there. I passed along the message. He goes, "I haven't got a clue what you're talking about." I said, "Okay, well, just tuck it in the back of your mind." The reading was a long one. It was almost 2 hours. And by the end of it, everything just all fit in with his heart, the whole bit. So when you ask me, not trying to get around the question, because I'm trying to think of the readings I've done, I will find that they're on the outside but I've never had one step forward. But I have heard of this, and I know obviously you've had it happen, right? That the person's never met them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, quite a bit. I used to present at the spiritual church frequently for a little while, and there was a fellow that attended all the time, and he came up to me after one of the services, and he's like, "You're one of my favorite mediums to watch." And I said, "Oh yeah?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "People will say no to you, that it doesn't resonate, and you just go, uh-huh, and you just keep going."
You know what? That is the hardest thing to do, but you start to learn.
Yeah. And he's like, by the time you're done, they're like, "Oh yeah, this, and this."
Yeah. That's how that reading was. It was one of the coolest things, because if there was ever anything to knock your confidence. Hi, Kasoon.
Hi, Kasoon. Thank you for being here. You missed Sean. Sean Kelly was here earlier.
Oh, well, you have to catch him on Sunday night, right? That'll be a good way to catch him, right, Kasoon? Anyways, it was just the coolest reading, because if there was ever a person that could have shook my confidence, like he was adamant. And he was a lovely man. I have no clue what you are talking about, and like none whatsoever. And the reason for the illness, that he almost died, everything, I'm getting goosebumps. It just all like plugged all the pieces in at the end. I love when that happens.
Yeah, I think I've only got frustrated once, where I was like, "I don't know why they're telling me this. This is your family, not mine. So we're just going to trust, and we're going to let it play out. Mm-hmm. And that's all we're going to do, because I'm doing my job, and your job is just to receive. And then we just see where it goes."
Yeah.
I agree. Oh, Melody, I was not going to throw you under the bus. I was not going to toss you under the bus at all.
Now you got to share it.
I think, Melody, was this like one of the very first times that we connected? And it was a remote group session. So Melody is just sharing guilty. You mentioned July, birthday in July, and I forgot my own son after it was like,
That's okay. That's sweet though.
yeah. And I think too, because when I get going, it's just you're peppering things out, and it could be totally not a way that they're experienced in receiving information, or had a different maybe expectation, even though they may not have thought they had an expectation. You just don't know, right? It's just peppering at you really fast, and they're trying to keep up. So Tamara, I'm really sorry to hear that about your sister. I'm very sorry. We're not giving messages this evening, but we're really glad that you came. Yeah. I hope that you're able to. Yeah, I'm very sorry. I hope that you are able to connect with someone, and that she's able to come through and help maybe give you some answers that you're looking for. Melody sharing yes, and my aunt came through, and I'm like, it's not mine, and you're like, this shit is yours. That sounds like how I work.
Yeah.
It's hard when you know, like, I don't know, it's a feel when you're moving through a space, like you just know where you're needing to go, and they don't let you go anywhere else. So
I hear you.
Kerrilynn, I hope I didn't miss one of the episodes. I have not had Chip Coffee on this show, but I had him on the previous show that I had before.
I learned all kinds of things about
you. That's okay. I can be the second favorite medium for you, and Chip can be the first. I'm okay behind Chip, but I appreciate that a lot.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. I have a couple, you know what hit me, and I've never forgotten, and I've told you this many times on air and off air, when I was on one of the first times with you on your show, and you had, let's have some fun. So and I agreed, of course, because love fun. And you asked me, who do you fangirl over in the paranormal world? And I'd never thought of it. And then I realized, and I fangirl over Josh Foreman. I'd probably tower over him because I'm like 5'9". He's a pretty short little guy, but I do, from Paranormal Nightmare. Yeah. When Melody say there?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just Melody's saying great lesson for me, and also to know when I share things that it makes sense for them after. That's okay. Because honestly, it's, an interesting lesson about that, Melody, that happened. I think it was last week, not this week. It happened last week. I have been working so much. I'm needing the day off soon for sure. I did a Dining with the Dead. Oh yeah. So it was last Tuesday. So I did a Dining with the Dead event. So at a Dining with the Dead events that I do, this one was at the Pinecroft in Elmer. So people have their dinner and dessert, and then I come in and I give messages after.
Were you wearing your green dress, that one? Is that the green dress event?
No.
Oh, it's a different one. Okay. I'm not going to say anything. The dress is beautiful. The color was gorgeous. Okay.
Oh yeah. That was a different event.
Okay.
So I gave my messages, and then I came home, and then I had sessions the next day, and the woman pops up, and I'm like starting the session, and I wasn't recognizing her, and I said, have you seen my work before? And she's like, you gave me messages last night. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, when I'm done, I'm done. I try really, some stories you hang on to because of, if there's a lot of sadness or trauma that's just really horrific, you kind of hang on to those. There are people such as, you know, that you make friends with as well too after you've connected that way. But
It's like
for
being
the
in
most part, you have to shut down and move. Like at the beginning, when I first started doing this full time, I was doing anywhere from 5 to 8 sessions a day, 6 days a week for years and years and years. So I just can't work that way anymore.
It's like being a nurse, though, you know, like there are people.
Oh, for sure.
I'm retired. Somebody reminded me that I am. I never chose to retire, but I hurt my back. I still use nursing every day, so I still identify as being a
Oh,
nurse.
for sure. For
But
sure you are.
patients, and I've had them almost some of them come through in spirit now that I do the work that I do. But there are some people that have really stayed with me all these years, and they just, and then to be other people, you used to look at, you were at my house because as a visiting nurse, right? Community visiting nurse. And it's not like you're being, it's just, you know, you see so many people in a day, or like you say with yourself, you're so tuned in. And when you're done, you're done.
Oh yeah. Julie on the couch. That's how I am. Hello, Ed of the Rift Nation Network, who's got all these awesome new shows coming up. We were talking about you earlier, actually. You missed it. Or maybe you did and you were hiding in the background, but we were talking about you earlier.
Yes.
In a very positive, wonderful way, my friend.
Yes.
Jenny, I hope so too. Your boys are so beautiful. I was seeing your picture. Jenny's just sharing. I can't wait to see you at Dining with the Dead in August at 360.
Aww. He goes, me. Howie says me.
Yes. Yes, we were speaking of you. Yes, we were speaking of you. Right before we were talking about, I don't know, was it before we were talking about, we've been talking about shadow people tonight and soul eaters tonight. Different dimensions and theories and possibilities of it.
So I wonder what the name, I'm going to have to look it up in Japanese for soul eater. That was interesting. And then like I say, you know, the other thing that I've noticed, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this or anybody else too that's in the chat. Have you noticed that when you get into looking at the paranormal globally, that just certain regions of the world seem to be notorious for a certain type of being? Like Japan, there's always the girl from the ring. Or I found this really great podcaster that tells these stories. He claims these are true life. He even had his best buddy come on there. These stories are so engrossing, and they're not necessarily about the paranormal. There may be a bit, but like his friend was being hunted as a human being up in Alaska. It was almost a 2-hour episode. I was like literally like just so vested, and he claims it's a true story. And then he was talking about how when he was 13, they used to go visit his grandparents. This does have kind of a paranormal element. And he was always told never to go in the sewer tunnel by his grandparents' house. So because the parents and grandparents told him there was a snapping turtle that would eat his toes off. Long story short, they're there for July 4th long weekend. He's about 12 and he's allowed to bring his best friends. Everybody's older than them, so they all go to a party. So the boys go investigating, and his friend just walks right in the tunnel. He says, "That's ridiculous. There's no turtle in here." So the kid walks in and sees this little trap door, and he starts hearing a voice saying, "Help! Free me!" And he said he could not stop himself. He opened the door, and the freakiest thing, as he opened the door, this being was the exact replica of him. And then he goes into the fact about it was going and doing horrible things. Like it knocked all the fireworks off towards the family in his grandparents' house. Like it was doing horrible, horrible things. And he kept trying to tell everybody, it's not me. This is what this, and his friend witnessed it too. And again, he claims it's a true story. This just seems so incredibly crazy. But what it was about was its goal is kind of relating to what we've been talking about. It poses as the person, so it turns everybody that loves you against you, and then it feeds off the misery and sadness. And it's quite a story. Like, is there something out there like that? Or why do we see regional beings? Sorry, go ahead.
Exactly. No, and I read when I was doing some quick research, there is a theory that the shadow people could also be part of us, like our shadow mirroring back to us all of our bad parts, low stuff that's
what
not
we would call the shadow that we all have, the shadow.
Our own energy being mirrored back to us, like physical manifestation of our own energy being mirrored back to us.
I could even consider that. Because like I say, as I've been in this world longer and longer, you know what, things that I thought before, I've changed my perspective on. And I think we just got to be open to anything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Bob, oh, go
I
ahead.
think we don't know enough. I just feel that when there are that many stories regionally, even like I know he's talking about the Appalachians. Ed is talking about the Appalachians right now. Kason Lee is sharing, talking about Japan. The Japanese girl from the Hotel Cecil comes to mind, who was Canadian, actually.
Yes.
She was Canadian.
I'll
There
find
has to be a truth where it originates somewhere.
I agree 100%. Okay, this guy's channel.
Oh, I love this story about the portrait of Dorian Gray too. Like,
I've never read it. I've heard the story. What was the one with Sean Connery that all the characters from old stories of horror and stuff, and it had Jules Verne.
oh yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness. League of Extraordinary Men.
There you go. Yes, that's about all I know about Dory. I've heard of him and what have you.
Dorian Gray is also in Penny Dreadful.
I've heard of the story. I've never looked into it. Now I'm going to have to. Okay, this channel is called Dougie, Dougie, Corrado, C as in Carl, ORRAD as in dog, O. So he was talking about the most compelling abduction story in history. Then he went, hunting trip gone horribly wrong. There's something evil in the sewers in Kentucky. That was the one that people are saying, is it a mimic? Is it a doppelganger? What is it? He didn't know. Like, but these stories he's sharing, he goes, feral people, and this made me think of you as you've got Ed up there. I know you as Howie Odell. Feral people are in the Appalachian Mountains, and he told the story of what happened to him and his best friend, and then as he was a younger child, how one of the kids in his group on a camping trip was abducted, and he goes on and on to explain these people and what's going on there. These stories are crazy. Like, I don't know if people are writing them in, and he's a really good narrator. So you guys, you want something to listen to, and it's got some.
I fall asleep at night. I listen to that stuff and fall asleep.
It's got some paranormal. It's got like, how many of us have said that do this kind of work? We don't fear spirits. We fear the real world with people sometimes. Yeah,
it's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's super true. We had, I don't know what happened, but it was just before 3 a.m. Might have been, no, it was actually 3:20. Sorry, it was 3:20, and there was this huge bang on our front porch. The dogs start losing their minds and they're barking. Like, it was loud enough that my son, who can snore to wake up the neighbors down each side of us, woke up because he heard it. He came lumbering down the stairs, and I was up and towards the door because we heard something at bang and wake everybody up. But when we looked outside, there was nothing. There was nothing there. I should have whistled.
No.
Just to see what it was. But we've had, like, I've woke up and there was like a homeless person sleeping between the neighbors, like on the other side of the store, right? So between the store and
you've seen some of my footage. So is Howie from my security cameras, what's been caught on them at nighttime.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have security cameras?
No.
Okay.
I have a trail cam. Maybe I could put a trail cam up.
Well, the neighborhood I live in, it was always notorious for having a lot of crime. It doesn't matter where you go in my city, though, because we're on a port in Lake Superior, right? And so we got a lot of crime in this area. And the area I'm living in on the north side of the city, you know, some streets can be really, really low income. You go one block over and it's like high-end houses. Right. So we got security cameras, and I'm glad, because I could literally be down visiting you and I get a notification on my phone or my watch, and I can look at who's at my door and talk to them, so they actually think I'm in the house.
Oh.
Yes.
The store beside us, their security camera hits our corner of our porch and towards the front and our driveway, actually.
Oh, so they could catch stuff for you then too if you need it.
Keeson Lee is asking, do you guys think that girl from the Cecil Hotel was possessed?
That is a crazy story. What do you think, Kerrilynn?
So they did find her, right, in the
water tower
on up above. She also had mental health issues. So whether she was med compliant or not at the time, I'm not sure. I don't know that part of the story.
I don't either.
I don't know where she was at with her mental health. But definitely the Cecil is very haunted. So if she was extra sensitive, if she was having issues, if she had not been eating properly either and was overtired, she would
not
be
hydrated.
Not hydrated. And definitely those spirits there could be messing with her for sure.
Because I think she believed she was talking to someone.
It looks like she's like moving at them, right?
And then to find her the way she was found, that's a little odd because I think the lid was pretty heavy for one person to lift that water tower.
Yeah.
It's very tragic.
It is tragic. Yeah.
You know who lives across the street?
The hotel is fascinating.
Do you know who lives across the street if you watch TikTok? Pete Monzingo. Tall, redhead. He comes from a family of little people. His mom's become quite famous on this. She's adorable. And they do a lot of videos together. He's got a really super cool singing voice. He actually tried out for The Voice, I think. He lives right across the Cecil Hotel. So if you check out some of his videos, he's actually tried to maneuver a drone across and into the windows because that's his big thing. He wants to see what's going on at the Cecil Hotel.
I think it's layers and layers of stuff, plus the energy. And one of the serial killers from like the 60s, 70s was also living there for a while.
Was that Richard Ramirez?
I think so. Was he the one that was on the dating game?
Yeah.
Yeah, him. He was there too. Like, so just the people, the transient people that were there, just the energy of it is intense.
Yeah, and the elevator, the way that, soon, like you said, the way the elevator was opening and closing on itself.
Yeah, it's a creepy video to watch for sure.
You are right, though. Like, if you're not in the right frame of mind, and whether you have mental illness and not, like you said, maybe not eating well, not med compliant. We're not saying she was.
Yeah, but we don't know all the factors to it.
But it could be possible. I agree 100% that if something had bad intentions, that and depending on, could she see, like you said, extra sensitive, like it could have influenced her.
I don't know where she was from. I think she was from BC, but I know she was Canadian. She was Canadian. It's a sad story, really. It's a very sad story.
Very sad. This went by so fast.
We kind of went sideways a little bit. I'm sorry about that. That's to be expected, but I promise when we do our panel, I have it all. I'm just so excited. I'm so excited about doing this panel in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we're going to have oh, Joanne, that's funny. Well, some of them do. I mean, Hotel Cecil has a reputation, right? A lot of the hotels that have a reputation for hauntings, that you know about them before you go. Apparently, where I'm going to be staying in Thunder Bay is haunted.
Are you staying at the? Are you going to be in the area where it's supposed to be? I've been in that hotel before. Yeah, it's supposed to be. You know what happened very quickly? The Ontario, this is their name. I'm not slamming anybody. I believe it's called the Ontario, is it LGBTQ Paranormal Society or something to that effect? Not that it matters, but it was that team that came up here and they were live streaming. This was when I was in my old house. They were at that hotel. And they had really built it up. Like there were so many people watching live, and I think they were trying to use Facebook Live back in the day when it didn't work well. anyways, all their equipment shut completely down. Everything. They couldn't do the feed. They couldn't do the investigation. Nothing.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But Spirit will do that. I mean, they've done it to Jody and I when we've gone to certain cemeteries that we've gone to investigate. The one we didn't even get onto the property. We were, taking pictures of the sign before we got onto the property, and it was shutting everything. Even the cell phones. Our cell phones were not acting proper. All the equipment messed up before we even got in. Then we just had to leave. If Spirit doesn't want you to investigate, they're going to shut you down right away.
Well, just to add, in the area you were staying, you were 2 minutes away from the marina, which is a beautiful area on Lake Superior. But we are known for the legend of Nana Bijou, or the sleeping giant. And it looks like a sleeping giant. One of the world's largest untouched silver mines is there. That giant apparently is there to protect that mine. And anybody that tries to access it, usually tragedy, I believe, befalls them. It's part of the legend.
Protect the land, protect the resources.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Don't be an arse.
That's the easy way. Yeah, don't be an arse. Right?
You think.
Mm-hmm.
You would think. Contessa, I believe so. I believe that season was kind of based off of Hotel Cecil.
I've never watched that series. I've meant to, and I have never watched it. I need to.
I haven't watched all of them. I kind of dipped in and out when I feel.
I just did The Boys. I'd never. That sounds terrible. I just sorry. I watched the whole series of 3 seasons of The Boys. Sorry, guys. I'd never watched it. I just watched like the occasional show. That is like, oh my gosh! And the new season's coming out, I believe.
The Boys.
Of The Boys in June. Mm-hmm. All the guys from Supernatural have all migrated over there because it's
This is crazy.
Yeah.
So if you guys stick around on the UPRN network, our one of our faves, Jeffrey Pritchett, is
love Jeffrey.
Love Jeffrey. Mm-hmm. So Jeffrey Pritchett is up next with Church of Mavis. Mm-hmm. Next week I have Martha Decker Hazard. I may have mucked that up, and I apologize, Martha, if I did. It may be backwards. It could be Martha Hazard Decker. But she is a retired detective out of Texas. Ooh. And she's a sensitive paranormal investigator, and the Haunted Hill House. I don't know if
I know about that house. Yeah.
She wrote about the Haunted Hill House. She's also wrote a book called Paranormal Profiler. So looking as a detective, what kind of questions to ask before you go into an investigation. Awesome. Mm-hmm. So she's going to be on next week, and then the following week will be the panel week with Julie Krause, spiritual advisor. She has been on before. Kim Sage, she is not. I'm really looking forward to having Kim on, and then Lorilei Potvin. So
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of like the fun episode, the fun segment that you and I had, and I'm hoping teachable at the same time too. So I'm going to think about the questions that I may have been asked, and I'm going to tap in with you guys and see what kind of questions you get asked repeatedly as well too, and some fun ones in there, and see where it goes. If you guys have questions, if you guys are listening in and you have questions that you would want to ask that are not necessarily mediumship, like in messages, direct messages from loved ones, but understanding mediumship, understanding the other side, anything like that, please email me. It's Kerrilynn, KERRILYNN.Shellhorn, SHELLHORN @gmail.com. Oh, and it's right up there with the website. You can use the contact form on the website as well too. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I hope that you guys have a great week, and we will thank you, Lorilei, for filling in. I know it was last minute, but I appreciate
I told you ask anytime. I love doing this with you. Thank you, everybody, for being so kind here to me, too. It's nice to meet new people here, too. Thanks again, guys.
Thanks so much for your comments and your questions. Have a great week, and we will see you next Friday.
Happy long weekend in Canada.
Yeah, be safe. Yeah, happy Victoria Day. Have a safe weekend, everyone.